Imagine a gleaming Boeing 747, a $400 million palace in the sky, offered as a gift to the President of the United States by a foreign government. Now picture that President, Donald J. Trump, shrugging off accusations of corruption and constitutional violations, calling it a great gesture, while his critics scream bribery and his allies waver. This isn't a Hollywood thriller. It's the real-life scandal that erupted in May 2025, shaking Washington, igniting debates on national security, and fueling calls for impeachment. Buckle up, because this story of power, greed, and a jet that could change history is about to take off. On May 11, 2025, ABC News dropped a bombshell. The Trump administration was poised to accept a luxury Boeing 747, from Qatar's royal family to serve as a temporary Air Force One. Valued at $400 million, the double-decker jet, previously used by Qatar's emir, boasted cream leather seats, 2 bedrooms, 9 lavatories, and a private office, a flying monument to opulence. Trump, who had toured the plane in February at Palm Beach International Airport, called it a no-brainer to accept, citing delays in Boeing's delivery of new Air Force One jets, now pushed to 2029. "I'd be stupid to say no to a free, very expensive airplane," he told reporters, his trademark bravado on full display. But the announcement wasn't met with applause. Democrats, ethics experts, and even some of Trump's fiercest MAGA supporters cried foul. The U.S. Constitution's Foreign Emoluments Clause explicitly forbids federal office holders from accepting gifts from foreign states without congressional approval. "This is a textbook violation," said Richard Briffault, a Columbia Law School professor, warning that the jet could make Trump beholden to Qatar's interests. Gifts like this are designed to create reciprocity. Public policy, weapons deals, you name it. Qatar, a wealthy Gulf state with a complex history of U.S. relations, insisted the plane was a government-to-government transaction, not a personal gift to Trump. A Qatari official told CNN it would go from their Ministry of Defense to the Pentagon to be retrofitted for Air Force One's stringent security standards. Yet the plan included a twist. After Trump's term, the jet would transfer to his Presidential Library Foundation, potentially for his personal use as a private citizen. This detail sent alarm bells ringing. "It's not just bribery, it's premium foreign influence with extra legroom," Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer quipped on X. The backlash was swift and bipartisan, a rare feat in America's polarized landscape. Democratic senators like Chris Murphy and Bernie Sanders labeled the deal wildly illegal and a flying grift. Representative Richie Torres, DNY, demanded an ethics probe, arguing the jet violated the Emoluments Clause and endangered national security. "Who's to say this plane isn't bugged with surveillance tech?" Torres asked, echoing concerns from former Secret Service officials who warned retrofitting the 13-year-old jet to Air Force One standards could take years and cost billions. Even Trump's loyal base showed cracks. MAGA influencer Laura Loomer called the deal a stain on his administration, while conservative pundit Ben Shapiro warned it opened Trump to legal trouble. The New York Post, typically a Trump ally, ran an editorial urging him to reject the palace in the sky. On X, posts circulated a 2017 clip of Trump accusing Qatar of funding terrorism, highlighting the irony of his now cozy relationship with Doha. "Taking sacks of goodies from people who support Hamas and Al Jazeera? That's not America first," one MAGA commentator fumed. Yet Trump doubled down. In a Truth Social post from Saudi Arabia, where he was touring Gulf states, he insisted the jet was a gift to the Department of Defense, not him personally. "Only a fool would not accept this gift on behalf of our country," he wrote, framing it as a taxpayer win. His press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, dismissed concerns about Qatar expecting favors, claiming Trump only works with the interests of the American public in mind. The White House's legal defense hinged on a Justice Department memo approved by Attorney General Pam Bondi, declaring the deal legally permissible. Bondi, who had lobbied for Qatar before joining Trump's administration, argued the plane's transfer to the Pentagon sidestepped the Emoluments Clause. Critics scoffed. "Bondi's past ties to Qatar make this look like a rigged game," said Jordan Libowitz of Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, CREW. Why would Qatar offer such an extravagant gift? The answer lies in the Gulf state's strategic playbook. Qatar hosts a major U.S. airbase but has long faced accusations of playing both sides, supporting U.S. interests while allegedly funding Islamist groups. In 2017, Trump himself called Qatar a funder of terrorism at a very high level, backing a Saudi-led blockade that ended in 2021. By 2025, however, Trump's tune had changed. His Middle East trip, including a stop in Doha, coincided with a $96 billion Boeing deal to sell Qatar 210 jets and a $38 billion defense investment pledge. The Trump Organization, run by his sons, also inked a deal for a luxury golf resort in Qatar, raising questions about personal gain. They see rewarding Trump pays off, said Republican strategist Doug Heye. Flattery gets you somewhere with him. Ethics experts worried the jet could tilt U.S. policy, from arms deals to Qatar's role in regional conflicts. This isn't just a plane, it's leverage, said Jessica Tillotman, a George Washington University law professor. The national security angle added fuel to the fire. Former CIA operative Douglas London warned that foreign-built aircraft, even if retrofitted, posed risks of hidden surveillance tech. Qatar could embed devices we'd never detect, he told MSNBC. The Pentagon, tasked with inspecting the jet, admitted it lacked the resources to fully vet a plane of this complexity by the administration's proposed timeline. A 2019 incident, where a Chinese-owned Boeing 737 was found with spyware, was cited as a cautionary tale. Trump dismissed these concerns as paranoid nonsense, but the Pentagon's hesitation spoke volumes. If the military isn't confident, why should the public be? Asked Rep. Jamie Raskin, DM'd, who called for an FBI investigation. The scandal's timing couldn't have been worse for Trump. On May 13, 2025, Rep. Shri Thanadar, D-Meech, introduced 7 articles of impeachment, accusing Trump of violating the Emoluments Clause, obstructing justice, and endangering national security. The charges, while symbolic given the Republican-controlled Congress, galvanized Democrats. House Speaker Mike Johnson called the impeachment push a desperate stunt. But the articles detailed a pattern of behavior. Trump's refusal to seek congressional approval for the jet, his family's Qatar dealings, and Bondi's questionable legal memo. Thanadar's resolution gained 72 co-sponsors, including moderate Republicans like Rep. Nancy Mace, signaling unease in Trump's own party. This jet isn't worth the chaos, Mace told Fox News. Public reaction was a mixed bag. A Rasmussen Reports poll showed 52% of Americans opposed Trump accepting the jet, with 38% in favor. Trump's base, while loyal, was split. 60% of Republicans backed him, but 25% called the deal shady. Protests erupted outside Trump Tower with signs reading "No jet for sale" and "Qatar owns Trump." Counter-protesters waved MAGA flags chanting "Let Trump fly." Social media amplified the divide. On X, #TrumpJet trended, with memes depicting Trump lounging on a gold-plated plane, while Qatar's emir whispered in his ear. A viral TikTok video juxtaposed Trump's 2017 anti-Qatar tweets, with footage of him praising Doha in 2025, racking up 10 million views. The media frenzy was relentless. CNN aired a special, The Qatar Quagmire, dissecting Trump's Gulf ties. The Wall Street Journal reported that Qatar had hired lobbyists close to Trump, including former aide Corey Lewandowski, to smooth the jet deal. The Washington Post uncovered emails showing Trump's team had discussed the jet's transfer to his library foundation as early as January 2025, contradicting claims it was a last-minute offer. Each revelation tightened the screws, but Trump remained defiant. At a Mar-a-Lago rally, he mocked his critics. "They're jealous because I got a better plane than Sleepy Joe ever had." Behind the scenes, the White House scrambled. Advisors urged Trump to delay accepting the jet until Congress could review it, but he refused, reportedly telling aides, "I don't beg for permission." The Pentagon, caught in the crossfire, issued a vague statement about ongoing assessments, while Boeing, already battered by Air Force One delays, stayed silent. Qatar, meanwhile, played the long game. A Doha-based diplomat told Al Jazeera the jet was a symbol of trust in U.S.-Qatar relations, downplaying any ulterior motives. Yet analysts noted Qatar's knack for buying influence, citing its $1.5 billion in U.S. lobbying since 2017. As May 2025 unfolded, the scandal's ripple effects grew. The House Oversight Committee, led by Rep. James Comer, R. Chi, launched an investigation into the jet's legality, though Democrats accused Comer of slow-walking it to protect Trump. The Senate Foreign Relations Committee scheduled hearings, with Qatar's ambassador summoned to testify. Legal challenges mounted. Crew filed a lawsuit alleging the deal violated federal ethics laws, while a coalition of states, led by New York's Letitia James, explored racketeering charges tied to the Trump Organization's Qatar deal. The Supreme Court, now with 2 Trump-appointed justices, loomed as a potential battleground if the cases escalated. Trump's allies in Congress fought back. Sen. Ted Cruz, R. Texas, called the outrage fake news, arguing the jet saved taxpayers' money. Reverend Marjorie Taylor Greene, R.J., claimed Democrats were weaponizing the Constitution to smear Trump. But the defections were telling. Senator Mitt Romney, R. Utah, a frequent Trump critic, co-sponsored a bipartisan bill requiring congressional approval for foreign gifts over $1 million. No president should be above the law, Romney said, a jab that stung Trump's camp. The bill, while unlikely to pass, exposed GOP fractures. The international fallout was equally messy. Allies like the UK and Canada raised concerns about the jet's implications for NATO security, given Qatar's ties to Turkey and Iran. Saudi Arabia, a Qatar rival, privately lobbied Trump to reject the plane, fearing Doha's growing influence. Israel, wary of Qatar's Hamas connections, issued a rare public statement urging transparency in the deal. Trump's Middle East trip, meant to showcase his deal-making prowess, instead highlighted his vulnerabilities. At a Riyadh summit, he faced pointed questions about the jet, snapping, "I'm here to make America great, not to answer gotcha nonsense." By late May, the scandal had reshaped the political landscape. Trump's approval rating dipped to 44% per Gallup, with independents souring on his leadership. The impeachment push, while stalled, kept the jet in the headlines, eroding Trump's Teflon image. Democrats seized the moment, framing the scandal as proof of GOP corruption ahead of the 2026 midterms. This isn't about a plane, it's about a president for sale, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, DNY, told a Brooklyn rally. Republicans, meanwhile, circled the wagons, with RNC Chair Michael Whatley accusing the media of anti-Trump bias. The jet itself remained grounded in Doha, its fate uncertain. Pentagon officials privately admitted the retrofit costs could exceed $2 billion, dwarfing the free narrative. Trump, undeterred, floated using the plane for campaign stops, joking it would make Sleepy Joe's jet look like a toy. But the jokes couldn't mask the stakes. The scandal exposed deeper truths about Trump's presidency, his love of spectacle, his disdain for norms, and his knack for turning crises into loyalty tests. For supporters, the jet was a bold flex. For detractors, it was a bribe wrapped in stars and stripes. As Washington braced for more revelations, one question lingered. Would the jet ever fly for Trump, or would it crash his presidency first? The answer, like the plane, hung in the air, a $400 million gamble on America's future. The Qatari jet sat gleaming under the Texas sun, a $400 million lightning rod that had already scorched Trump's presidency. By mid-May 2025, the scandal was no longer just about a plane. It was a battle over America's moral compass, its global alliances, and the limits of presidential power. As the nation grappled with the fallout, new revelations, international maneuvering, and a daring whistleblower threatened to push the crisis to a breaking point. The San Antonio tarmac became a media circus. On May 16th, the Wall Street Journal reported that Boeing engineers had discovered anomalies during the jet's initial inspection, unmarked wiring and panels that didn't match the plane's blueprints. Whispers of potential surveillance tech, microphones, cameras, or data relays, spread like wildfire. A retired NSA official, speaking anonymously to MSNBC, claimed Qatar had a history of embedding espionage tools in state gifts. "This isn't paranoia," he said. "It's standard procedure for nations playing the long game." The Pentagon, under pressure, halted inspections and ordered a classified cybersecurity sweep, delaying the jet's fate indefinitely. Trump, back from his Gulf tour, pivoted to offense. At a Fox News town hall in Miami, he accused the media of treasonous lies and framed the jet as a diplomatic triumph. "Qatar respects me because I'm strong, unlike Sleepy Joe," he declared, drawing roars from the crowd. He hinted at a broader Middle East strategy, teasing a historic peace deal that would make the Abraham Accords look like a warm-up. Aides leaked that Trump was eyeing Qatar as a mediator in a new Iran nuclear framework, a move that could explain Doha's generosity. But the optics were disastrous. Accepting a lavish gift while negotiating high-stakes diplomacy screamed conflict of interest. Behind closed doors, the White House was fracturing. Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, a longtime Trump loyalist, clashed with National Security Advisor Keith Kellogg, who warned the jet could alienate Saudi Arabia and Israel, key allies wary of Qatar's ambitions. Kellogg pushed for a public rejection of the plane, citing intelligence reports of Qatar's ties to Iranian proxies. Wiles, focused on Trump's 2026 midterm strategy, argued that ditching the jet would signal weakness to his base. "He's not backing down," she told aides, per a Politico source. Trump, caught between them, grew erratic, reportedly berating staff for failing to sell the win to the public. The scandal took a seismic turn on May 18th when a whistleblower, identified only as a senior Boeing technician, leaked internal memos to The Guardian. The documents revealed Qatar had pressured Boeing to fast-track the jet's transfer, offering $500 million in incentives to bypass standard FAA protocols. More damning, the memos suggested Boeing executives had downplayed the wiring anomalies to avoid derailing their $96 billion Qatar deal. The whistleblower, fearing retaliation, fled to Canada, but their claims ignited a congressional firestorm. House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer, R-Chi, subpoenaed Boeing's CEO, vowing to expose any cover-up. Democrats, sensing blood, demanded a special prosecutor to investigate potential bribery. Public sentiment soured further. A Gallup poll showed 58% of Americans now viewed the jet as a corrupt bargain, with independents, crucial for 2026, swinging sharply against Trump. X erupted with #Boeing bribe, trending alongside leaked photos of the jet's lavish interior, including a throne-like captain's chair emblazoned with Qatar's crest. Satirists had a field day. The Onion ran a mock headline, "Trump trades Statue of Liberty for Qatari yacht." Even conservative strongholds like Breitbart ran skeptical pieces, questioning why Trump hadn't demanded transparency from Qatar. Internationally, the scandal rippled through delicate alliances. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, already irked by Trump's Qatar pivot, canceled a planned Mar-a-Lago summit, citing scheduling conflicts. Israeli officials, briefed on the jet's potential surveillance risks, quietly lobbied the Biden-era holdovers in the State Department to block its acceptance. Meanwhile, Qatar doubled down, announcing a $10 billion investment in U.S. energy firms, a move analysts saw as a bid to buy goodwill. Doha's playing chess while Trump's playing checkers, a former CIA officer told Al Jazeera. The legal quagmire deepened. On May 20th, the ACLU filed a lawsuit in D.C. federal court, arguing the jet violated not just the emoluments clause, but also federal anti-bribery statutes. The suit named Trump, Bondi, and the Pentagon, seeking an injunction to ground the plane permanently. Legal experts gave the case a fighting chance, citing precedents from Trump's first term, when his D.C. hotel profits sparked similar lawsuits. The courts could force transparency, said Harvard's Lawrence Tribe. This isn't just about a plane, it's about foreign influence in the Oval Office. Trump's inner circle scrambled to contain the damage. Donald Trump Jr., overseeing the family's Qatar resort deal, took to X to defend his father, calling the scandal a witch hunt by globalist elites. But the post backfired, drawing scrutiny to the Trump organization's Gulf ties. A Bloomberg investigation revealed the Qatar Investment Authority had loaned $200 million for the resort, terms undisclosed. "It's not just the jet, it's a web of deals," said Sen. Elizabeth Warren, pushing for a Senate inquiry into Trump's foreign income. By May 22nd, the jet saga had paralyzed Washington. The House Ethics Committee, despite GOP resistance, opened a probe into Bondi's Qatar ties, uncovering emails showing she'd met Qatari officials weeks before her DOJ memo. The Pentagon, battered by leaks, admitted the jet's cybersecurity sweep could take months, with costs already hitting $50 million. Trump, visibly frustrated, lashed out at a Wisconsin rally, calling the whistleblower a traitor and vowing to drain the swamp again. But his rhetoric felt hollow. Polls showed his approval dipping to 41%, a low for his second term. The crisis reached a fever pitch when, on May 24th, Anonymous, the decentralized hacker collective, claimed responsibility for hacking Boeing's servers. They dumped 10,000 pages of documents online, including alleged correspondence between Qatari officials and Trump aides, discussing the jet as a goodwill gesture for future cooperation. While unverified, the leak fueled speculation of a quid pro quo. X lit up with anonymous exposés, and even Trump's staunchest allies struggled to spin the narrative. "If this is real, it's game over," tweeted Rep. Matt Gaetz, a longtime Trump defender. As May ended, the jet remained grounded, a symbol of a presidency teetering on the edge. Trump faced a choice: reject the plane and risk alienating Qatar, or push forward and court legal and political ruin. His base, though loyal, showed signs of fatigue. X posts from MAGA accounts begged him to focus on America, not jets. Democrats, emboldened, planned nationwide protests under the slogan, "No kings, no planes." The courts, Congress, and the public awaited answers. But one thing was certain: the Qatari jet had exposed cracks in Trump's armor, and the world was watching to see if they'd shatter.